Welcome everybody to our Alternative Health Blab today. Glad you could be here with us. And we have a really exciting blab today, and it's as it turns out, if you get into blabbing and circulating around this thing we call the internet in blab, you meet some really cool people, and that was the case here with our guest today. First off, my name's Mike Warren, and I'm with Alternative Health Concepts, as you can see right below my name. And my partner well, on my screen, I always get this wrong, but I think he's this way, if I'm doing it right next to me. Yeah, Wayne Dorban. And I'll let him introduce himself. And then on my screen again, and I know when you guys are watching this, if you're watching this as a recording after the fact and not live, that the pictures all get screwed up and kind of scrambled up. But right now, one of our guests is below me. Her name is Dana, and kind of one at, I guess it would be at this angle down here is Evan. And so let me introduce them both. And as I mentioned, they became kind of friends of ours. We have a lot in common, and our main thing in common is we want to try and help people understand what their health is all about and how to get healthy naturally. And that's my focus, that's my passion. That's why we started Alternative Health Concepts, because there are alternatives out there that are less toxic and less dangerous than a lot of the pharmaceuticals being prescribed to us today, particularly in Western medicine. So I'm going to start off with Whole Health Dana, as you see. I went on her website and I still don't know her last name, and that's fine because she didn't put it up there. So I'll call her Whole Health Dana. Dana's, I'll let her talk about it, but what I know about Dana is that she has a really nice website called Whole Health Dana, and she, along with like myself and Wayne and Evan, are passionate about helping people heal themselves naturally. And I'll let her talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then we have Evan Summers of SummerWellnessCoach.com is the name of his website, another great website. Evan is the same as Dana, but he is a little more focused, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, but Evan's site primarily deals with whole health, but he deals with the essential oils, and I've come to follow Evan and learn a lot about essential oils that I never knew, and that's why I was excited to have them, because essential oils to me was an area growing up I knew nothing about. My father's a doctor, and that kind of says it all as far as some of the alternative methods. He happens to be my partner now in Alternative Health Concepts, but growing up as kids, we did everything the traditional medical way. Essential oils was not something that I was even aware of. And so within the last year or so, I've become aware of it. And that's why we're having this blab today. So it's exciting to have them. I hope you guys that are in the audience today are going to learn something. I know you will. And as we get going here, we're going to let you guys jump in, and we'll open a seat up. If you have questions, we'd love you to come in and ask the questions. Or there is the chat over to the right side that you can type your questions in. If you have a question, put the backslash and a small q together, and then just type in your question, and it will show up in the left side of the screen, and then I can put it up here. So without that, Dana, start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where you came from, kind of what you're here, and what you're all about.
Well, awesome. Definitely, Mike, I want to thank you for having us on here this morning, too. It was really nice for you to reach out to us and want to help share, you know, some of the things that we do with essential oils. So thanks for having us on. My name is Dana, and I have a health and wellness blog. It's wholehealthdana.com. And my story stems from losing my husband to cancer. And it became a journey, I guess, with the things that I started to learn and to discover about really how broken our food system is, and also how broken our medical system is. And had I known a lot of the things that I know now, the choices that we would have made for his medical treatment, and also how he was eating during the time, most particularly how he was eating, while he was sick, would have been completely different. So, and I really focus on prevention. I don't want anybody to go through what me and my husband went through. So on my website, really, I encourage people to stop eating food from a box, and to prepare your own food at home using whole, real food ingredients. I also teach people how to replace toxins in your home by using essential oils and other chemical-free ingredients for making your own personal care products, general cleaning products. I think that by making healthy choices now about what I put inside of my body, what I put on my body, and the products that I come into contact with, I can not only strengthen my immune system with nutrition, but I can also give my immune system a break from the everyday toxins that it comes into contact with. So basically, I try to avoid the toxins that I'm able to, so that my immune system is strong enough to deal with the toxins that that it's not able to. And really, that's just, I want to prevent disease before it ever gets there. And I think most disease is not genetically so much as it is environmental.
Great. And I second and ditto everything you just said, for sure, because that's what we're all about. And there are other methods that we can use in conjunction with the traditional Western medicine to help heal ourselves, in a lot of cases quicker than just doing the traditional methods alone. They're a good adjunct, and in some cases, it's a good way to go as a complete alternative also. Evan, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your journey and what got you here to where you're at today.
Absolutely. Thank you as well for having us on here. I feel Dana and I have really found ourselves a kindred spirit in you, Mike, completely credited to the strength of Blab. I don't think we ever would have crossed paths, or had we crossed paths, it probably would have been under very different circumstances had
Absolutely.
Blab not been there for us.
Absolutely.
So I kind of carry a little bit of a different background. A lot of my friends who have undertaken the wellness torch have done so in large part because of either a significant family illness, significant personal illness, something along those lines that have driven and motivated their personal journey into better health. For me, it was really driven mostly by my wife. Primarily, she started to recognize some of the issues that we had in our home, and very often that's the case. Usually, these wellness journeys are initiated by and inspired by the better half of the relationship. So she had figured out how many toxins we were bringing into the house, how bad our food system was. She was the one who first started to read things from David Wolfe and Michael Pollan and Joe Cross, and started to recognize how broken our food system and our food distribution system is, where she started to point those fingers and show me the fallacy of the things we were doing, the food we were eating. She started making choices under my nose, whether I wanted her to or not. And being a man that has always kind of embraced the happy wife, happy life mentality, I'm not going to fight that battle because it's just not worth it. Eventually, I'm going to cave one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then I started to watch some of the documentaries, and there are some amazing documentaries. I got connected with Dr. Joshua Axe, who has one of the largest wellness websites in the world, draxe.com. And come the end of 2014, my wife and I chronicled all the changes that we had made in our house and our lifestyle throughout the year. We posted that information on Facebook for our friends, and our friends, almost to a T, kept responding how we inspired changes for them. Some of them were going to print that paper and put it on their refrigerator. Some were going to print it and put it in their bathroom so they have a reminder of that idea of, well, if they could do it, then I can do it. And that led us to a thought of, if we can do this for our friends, then we can make this a career and we can become wellness coaches.
Yeah, great.
And then I got, once we got connected with Dr. Axe, he invited me to be a part of an integrative solution, a program that he created that we did last year that he's about to launch again this year that completely changed my perspective and completely changed my life. Learned about health, learned about the business side, got a ton of tips on entrepreneurship. And I started to realize that the health coaching direction wasn't going to be financially lucrative because so many people are looking for the Google solution that doesn't cost them anything. And that begat the focus on essential oils. Now, a year ago, had you walked up to me with a bottle of essential oils, I would have laughed at you saying, this is hippie medicine. There's no way this works. There's no validity here. It's all myth and it's all psychosomatic. I am the skeptic. So when I started to use them and when I started to experiment, when I allowed myself to open my mind to the possibility, I really wish somebody would have put a sledgehammer to my head 10 years ago and made me recognize the power these things have then. Because that would have completely changed my life for the better years ago.
Awesome. Fantastic. So here we are today.
Coffee got delivered, so I'm good to go now that coffee's been delivered.
You're good. Well, you should be on about your fourth cup. You're like 3 hours behind me. Or ahead ahead of me. So I'm still waking up out here. Well, that's awesome. Now, so what I'd like to do today is kind of just ask you a few questions about things that I'd like to know a little bit more about essential oils, and also take any questions that we have coming in from the audience about them. Dana, you and Evan, you kind of didn't mention it, at least if you did, I didn't hear it too much, but I know you guys came together through a similar circumstance, and that was also with Dr. Axe, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly where we met.
Even though you're in Colorado and he's in Atlanta area, then you still have come, and through the internet, you guys have connected and created quite a little following. I know you guys have a regular blab, at least 2 a week. Do you guys do 2 a week now, or just the one? 2. Okay.
Yesterday it was just me though. Evan had a flat tire, so I was blabbing by myself.
Oh no! Well,
Emily showed up.
Life goes on, doesn't it?
Right.
So with that, tell me a little bit about, I know you lost your husband to cancer. How did the essential oils how do they play in, and I'm directing this obviously at Dana, how did that essential oils play into your knowledge or understanding or helping people heal naturally? What is the place of essential oils in that protocol or that line, if you will?
Actually, that's a great question, and I know Evan's answer would probably actually be different than mine. Because
then I'll ask him second. Wayne, remind me.
Yeah, no, Evan uses his essential oils more plant-based medicine than I do. I know just because, of things that's gone on with his life. I use them particularly just for supporting my immune system, and keeping strong, and also for replacing toxins in my home. I come from very sturdy stock. My family never dies. We don't get sick. And so, I don't normally say, oh my gosh, I have oh, how do I say this compliantly? I have head tension. And so what do I do for my head tension? So, normally I'm like, okay, how do I replace a toxin or a chemical in my home? And so I do a lot of DIY stuff. And then I do a lot of preventative stuff, that stuff that just supports my immune system so I'm not catching a cold or a flu or something like that. But that is something that, again, a year ago, I was like Evan. I bought a bottle of lavender essential oil so that, my sheets would smell pretty. Or I think the first time I bought essential oil for anything other than smell was to put on my skin to keep mosquitoes away. So when I started looking into our medical system and really come to grips with the fact that it's not really designed to make us well, it's really designed to keep us as long-term customers, I started looking for what can I do for my body to help my friends, to help my family, to help myself, that we can achieve wellness without looking for a drug that is going to cause other side effects and not really cure the problem. And so for the first step was really discovering that there's nothing that is going to cure disease or cure sickness within my body except for my own body. And, don't be looking for a pill, be looking for something that is going to build up your body, build up your immune system, because that's what's going to heal you when you do get sick. So for me, I'm mostly using it to make deodorants and sugar scrubs and, hand sanitizers, toilet bowl cleaners, and a lot of do-it-yourself stuff in order to not be, breathing in toxic chemicals or, getting it on my skin and absorbing it in. So that's what I use it more for primarily. Now, Evan, I think he actually can give you a different side of it, because I know that he's used it for more stuff to help with, like physical, can I say conditions? Physical conditions.
Sure.
Hey, and before you go there, Evan, I got a lead in for you. I don't know if it'll show up since we've got 4 seats. But we have a question from Scott over here on to the left, if you look. Are there any clinical studies that validate some of the claims made by essential oil vendors? And I, for one, know there are quite a few clinical studies that have been done, and they're doing more and more constantly. But maybe you could lead that in, and because I know you have a heavy background in that, just what she was saying, for some of the physical ailments. And I don't think.
Yeah, and I did answer. I answered Scott as well in the chat.
Okay.
But
great.
yeah, I will definitely reiterate it. Just to give you a little bit of an understanding of where I came from on this, and I will answer Scott's question as we go through this, because it's a good tie-in as well. From a wish or desire standpoint that I had known about these oils 10 years prior, one of my driving tenets, one of the things that keeps me going, one of the things that has put me in business with essential oils is the fact that had I known about the power of these oils years ago, I could have I'm convinced I could have brought a measure of peace and well-being to my father through all the years of bad health that he's had. I watched the man's physical health decline, but more importantly, because of his physical ailments, I watched his mental health decline, because his physical condition brought him to a state of manic depression. And it was tearing not only him down, but he made almost daily suicide threats because he wanted to help my mother not deal with his pain. So just to put things in a little bit of perspective so you understand what my drive is at this point. Now, to backtrack to when I started, because I've always been the skeptic, and I've never been a big fan of pharmaceuticals. I went through my entire formative years never taking a pill, never wanting to even pop an aspirin for a headache, because I've always had that sensation that my body's going to do what my body is going to do. and it's going to heal itself naturally, be it over time or nutrition, it's going to heal itself properly. But as I got older and I wanted to have less downtime and I wanted the quick fix, I found myself, anytime I had a stuffy nose, I would reach for Afrin, which led to leading to more reaching for Afrin, more nasal spray.
Yeah.
It got to the point where the natural solution of a saline spray didn't work for me because I wanted the quick fix. Well, my father suffered with using Afrin for years, to the point where he had major sinus surgery to correct some of his issues. The day I started using essential oils, and the first combination I ever put together was peppermint, rosemary, and eucalyptus in an inhaler bottle, in a personal inhaler. The day I put that together is the day I stopped using Afrin. I can hold that inhaler just under a nostril, inhale deeply for about 30 seconds, and completely clear any type of nasal blockage that I have, and it lasts all day. I don't run into the same kind of up and down swings that I've had in the past. Now, is that a universal cure for everybody? Absolutely not. I'll never make that claim, because every person is different. Everybody's body chemistry is different. Different people will be triggered by different things, and by the same token, feel relief from different things. But for me, one of the standards, one of the things I carry with me at all times, is that inhaler of rosemary, peppermint, and eucalyptus. It works for me like a charm. There are other things that I started to realize as we got older. Once I got into my 40s, and I've always been heavy, I've always been overweight, I've always had that kind of a problem. And it doesn't, for me, the body gets to a weight it's comfortable at, and it takes more effort to break the body's recognition of this is where I want to be, then it takes a lot of work to break away from that. So even, as I've carried this weight my whole life, I started getting those daily aches and pains, 10, 15 minutes in the morning, just listening to the joints creak. Every night I'd have to roll my back out on a foam roller just to be able to lay down in bed at the end of a day, because I was working retail. I spent 35 years as a retail store manager. At the end of a long day of retail, I've got feet, my feet were hurting, my back was compressed. I'd have to roll my spine out on a foam roller just to get comfortable at night in bed. So I had those aches and pains that come with 40 plus years on this planet. Then we started to explore and experiment with oils. I run a diffuser every single night in the bedroom, all night long, runs from the time we go to bed till the time we wake up in the morning. We'll usually do a mix of...
Evan, let me jump in there. Tell people that may not know, because I didn't even know when I first met you, what a diffuser is and what it does.
A diffuser, and let me grab, I've got a box right here. And this is just one of many. A diffuser is a unit, and you can see it on here. Mm-hmm. This one, you fill this with water. You put a half dozen drops of essential oils in this, and what it does is there's a ceramic disc on the inside of the diffuser. It vibrates at ultrasonic frequencies. It breaks the water up into its molecular structure, and as the water breaks up into microscopic particles, it picks up microscopic particles of the oil and infuses the atmosphere around you with those microscopic drops of essential oil. Essentially, I could almost say it's like a humidifier, but a humidifier tends to heat up the water as opposed to just atomize it into a ultrasonic form.
Yeah.
So when I say diffusing, that's what I'm referring to. So we diffuse oils at night, right over the bed on the headstand, on the headboard. We have the diffuser that runs throughout the night. I'll have another one that'll run in the living room during the day. But here's the thing that I noticed in November, I started to look back and I was like, you know what? I don't have daily pain anymore. I mean, it was like an eye-opening experience. I just kind of looked back and said, I don't know when this happened, but I no longer have daily pain. I no longer wake up 15 minutes into my day trying to figure out how am I going to get fully vertical and get this day started. I don't have the back pain and the shoulder pain and the knee pain that I used to have on a daily basis, just that from life wearing me down. I've had 3 knee surgeries and a rotator cuff surgery, but none of those were hurting me anymore. And I used to get, and it was little nagging pains. We all have them, and we generally just kind of get used to them. So we put it on the back burner. We don't think about it. Our pain tolerance rises. So the minor pains don't really affect us. But I wasn't feeling any of it. And the only thing I could attribute it to was the daily consistent use of essential oils, because as I started to dig into the science behind them, and again, now more directly relating to Scott's question, I started to read study after study after study about how they work into the body, how they bypass the cellular wall, and they reinforce the cellular structure from the inside out. They basically feed the cell with the proper nutrition, essentially, and it's not really they're not a nutrition-based product, but it's almost like cellular nutrition. It gives the cell fuel to realign itself, to work in the way that it is designed to work, and that's what allows our cells that are information carrying molecules to begin with. They allow the cell to work more efficiently and do what they're designed to do, which is heal the body. What frustrates me, and this industry, and by the way, you can see them over my shoulder. I mean, that's our bank of essential oils right here, smack in my living room. That's how dedicated we are to them. They are right there, top of mind every day. What frustrates me about the essential oil industry is actually one of the things that Scott mentioned in his question. There are these massive, grandiose claims that essential oil representatives make about the efficacy of essential oils, claiming that they're like a cure-all for every disease, condition under the sun. At some point, I'm waiting for somebody to come out and say, oh, you had your hand amputated? No problem. Dip your stump in a vat of lavender oil and you'll regrow a new hand. I mean, it's really kind of getting to the point of ridiculousness. And I will never make a grandiose claim that oils heal anything. Oils are not the heal. They're not the cure. The body does that on its own. The oils, if anything, are the fuel required to do so.
You know what? We got another question from Scott, and I don't know if it's a question or more of a comment, but it is true, and this is true with any industry supplement outside of maybe the pharmaceutical industry that is heavily regulated by the FDA. The FDA obviously will step in on these issues, but this issue that he brings up, maybe you could address it a little bit about the oversight in the essential oil industry, particularly. There really is no oversight, and so you get this vast differences between essential oils. Just since we've talked the last few weeks, and I've been looking into it for myself and my wife, that has an issue that she's trying to deal with, we've learned a lot about it, and there is huge differences between the quality of the oil out there at the local farmers market or even at the local health food store, different places that you see essential oils everywhere now. And there's such a huge, it's a mass of confusion of where to go, what to look for. And I think that's a little bit about what both of you are doing. You're trying to share what you've learned. I see a comment over there that it looks like you sell it. Obviously you do. That is part of your business. You do sell essential oils, both of you, I'm assuming, do that. Talk a little bit about the quality standards without getting too deep into it because it's a little off
Absolutely.
topic of where I want to go, but talk about what that is and if there is a regulatory body amongst essential oil manufacturers.
Well, first and foremost, and I know Dana will jump in on this too, but I know Dana tends to let me run with this topic because it's something I'm really passionate about. There is no regulation. It is a completely unregulated, Wild West kind of scenario in the world of essential oils. Dana and I both represent the same company. It is one of the direct sales marketing companies in the world of essential oils. There are two major players, and we represent one of them. Not going to get into the sales aspect of it because that's not really what we're doing here.
Right.
But that being said, even though this is my business, and like I said, I walked away from a 35-year career as a retail manager to focus on helping people full time. What I do with oils on a daily basis is help people so they can understand how the oils work and how they can help them. But what I primarily tell people is do your own research. Don't just go to one person and say, what oils should I choose? What company should I pick? Do your own research. Before my wife and I decided to go with the company that we represent, we personally have experimented with 7 different essential oils companies. We checked their backgrounds. We tried their oils. We experimented with different combinations. We looked at the history of the company. And we decided which one we were going to primarily go with. Now, again, the word is primary. I still purchase oils from other companies when there are oils that are not in my particular inventory that we're able to get. If there's another company that I see that comes to market that I want to check out and see what their quality level is, I will check into those other oils as well. We've tried 3 other companies since we made the choice to primarily go with the one that we're with. That doesn't mean, because we're not in a society where you have to make a choice and stay with it for life. You are always free to choose. You are always free to make best decisions. In regards to regulation, the FDA won't regulate oils because the pharmaceutical companies can't patent a plant. And because the FDA is so in bed with the pharmaceutical companies, there's no profit to be made by the FDA or by the pharmaceutical companies in regards to a plant-based material. The only way the FDA can profit out of this industry is to leave it unregulated and fine the companies that make grandiose claims.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll make money on fines, but they can't make money on the process.
Right. Interesting.
So there's there's wide variety in quality. It is estimated that approximately 80% of the essential oils on the market are in some way adulterated or blatantly fraudulent. Fraudulent claims made on the labeling, which is why it's important to do your research. It's important to have an advocate in your corner who can help you understand the differences in purity. And let's also briefly just understand this. The sourcing of the material is as important as the quality of the oil. So, Mike, if you were growing lavender in your backyard and bottling that lavender, breaking it down and creating an essential oil for the lavender that you were creating in a greenhouse in your backyard, it may be 100% pure lavender.
Sure.
But the constituents, the therapeutic benefit of the lavender I get from you out of your backyard is going to be vastly different than the therapeutic benefit of lavender that I would get grown naturally at the source in the fields in France where the plant was naturally destined to grow and thrive.
Yeah, the native area.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Dana, did you have anything to chime in on any of that, or was that?
They do. Hey,
yeah.
Here.
Hey. Wayne's back. Wayne's back.
Well, I actually jumped off. We've been periscoping actually at the same time, and there were
cool.
a whole bunch of people on Periscope, and I just decided I'd be better to get back on. Really awesome listening to you guys. I'm going to be the sort of moderator here and just encourage everyone that's on now. And we've got a number of people. Follow everybody else here. And it's the way that you can get people when you do a blab yourself. And definitely make sure to follow Dana and Evan and then interact with them later. Secondly, please jump in. I'm going to jump off in a second. I've seen amazing chat going on over here. And it'd be wonderful if one or more of you want to jump in and talk to Evan and Dana and ask them some questions. This is awesome information. We got about 4 or 5 people that are new to Blab today. So anyway, I'll stop there and keep going. Thanks.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks. So one thing I'd like you guys to touch on a little bit, and we actually had a question that I wrote that Teresa wrote. If I pop it up here, it says, what recipe do you use for this pain relief? So talk a little bit about what you guys do. I'll take that question back down. But when somebody comes to either one of you and you're either going to coach them or introduce them to essential oils, walk us through quickly the process of what you may do or go through with that individual to understand what their needs are, and then the process of actually what kind of oils you recommend or that they may use. Because obviously what you said is do your own research. I understand that's important, but that's also part of the problem, because when you start to do your research, you run into what you said, Evan, about the huge differences between oils, and it can be almost just overwhelming. You've got particularly if you're fighting a chronic disease, you've got Western medical telling you should do one thing. You've got all your friends and relatives telling you should do another. You've got people you barely know telling you this is the cure-all to every cure-all. So what do you do? And I look at essential oils like a product that we manufacture and we sell called BioPro Plus, which is an immune boosting stimulant, on our website that down below you can see and get more information about that. But I don't look at any one thing as being a cure to anything. I look at any chronic disease as this huge, huge jigsaw puzzle, if you will. And essential oils, BioPro Plus, whatever it may be, are just one little piece of that puzzle to help our body heal itself naturally. So, and I know that essential oils has a valid place in that jigsaw puzzle and helping our body heal themselves. So with that said, what do you do when somebody comes to you? Let's say I've got cancer and I'm looking for some alternative help to help combat maybe the nausea that I've got going through chemotherapy, or just help rebuild my immune system. What are some of the essential oils that you would use, and how would you use them? Do you apply them topically? Do you take them internally? Do you just use a diffuser? If either one of you guys can jump in, I'll get off that subject and maybe just add what you think.
Go ahead, Dan. I'll let you start, and I'll pick up after you.
It's better that you pick up after me, because Evan does this. He does this 6 days a week online, man. You get him started, he can't stop. And that being said, he's excellent. Every single time I listen to Evan, I learn something new. I mean, honestly, he's my go-to guy too. So I text him all the time. I'm like, okay, what would you do for, this or that, or what do you suggest? So for me, when I'm looking at someone and, trying to figure out what, works with their needs, we sit down and talk about, okay, what do they have going on? What have they already tried? And then like when you were talking about like the pain, for example, well, what kind of pain? Because, that would be incredibly vague. Are we talking about,
hey, Dana, Dana, can I jump in real quick? I just want to,
yeah.
I'm not sure what his name is. Scott, I'm sorry, Scott. I hate the way they don't put your names over here on the right. If someone comes to you looking for cancer treatment, refer them to an oncologist. I agree with that. But in most cases, after you've been to an oncologist, you're going to still look yourself. And if you don't, personal feeling is that's foolish to only believe the oncologists have all the answers, because they don't, particularly with regard to cancer. That is their specialty, but they only know the Western medical side of it. There are other things that you can do in conjunction with chemo, radiation, or surgery that helps all those protocols and modalities, and essential oils is one of them. So with that said, I wanted to answer his question statement as he said there. So go ahead, Dana.
Right. And I mean, and to be clear, I am not a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor, and I don't want to give you or anybody else medical advice. You know, I think
Right.
we all have to make our own decisions and then follow, you know, what we think is best. And I would say that if somebody comes to me with cancer, I'm pretty sure they've already seen an oncologist and they have one. So, you know, we're looking for supporting the immune system. I mean, I'm never going to tell anybody you need to stop your medical treatment and use an essential oil. Because quite honestly, essential oil is not going to cure cancer. I'm not really sure that chemotherapy and radiation are either. I think your body is what cures cancer. So we're just looking at what is supporting the body, building it up. And nutrition is a huge part of that. It's not essential oils. There are essential oils that do support the system and have been shown to be effective in helping supporting, you know, in different types of cancers. But I want to be very clear. I do not believe putting any essential oil on your body is going to cure cancer in your body. I don't believe that. And I also do know that if you are using like radiation and chemotherapy, you know, you need to make sure that you're being careful with using them. Robert Tisserand, who's kind of like the granddaddy of all things essential oils and a major expert, he has a really good article on his page that talks about, you know, a lot of people talk about frankincense when they're talking about cancer. And he, you know, makes it very clear on his website that if you're using, you know, essential oils, particularly frankincense, with the ongoing treatment of your cancer, you need to make sure that you're using it in proper conjunction with chemotherapy. If you're using chemotherapy, you shouldn't be using it within, I think you'd have to go look, but several weeks on either side of chemotherapy. So I am not at all making any statements. So I'm really looking at what we can do to support the body. Now, there are certain things like, you know, emotional support, you know, where you're getting immediate results. I use essential oils before, you know, activity. If I'm going to go do a strenuous hike in order to, you know, maybe heat off a little pain from the hike and coming back from it. But yeah, no, I don't want to make any medical treatments. And I know Evan has a, you know, a really good place where he starts when he's coaching with someone to help them establish their goals. And I think, Evan, you'd be a good time for you to jump in and run with that.
And before Evan starts, if any of you have questions and would like to jump in that seat, there's an open seat. Come on in and ask your questions directly. You don't have to do it from the chat, and you don't have to be shy because nobody is going to make fun of you. We want to hear from you, and we like to meet you in person anyway. It's one of the ways that I got to know these two, and I'm glad I did. I just jumped in the blab they were doing, and we got to know each other, and we become friends. So feel free to do that. Go ahead, Evan.
All right. So and what Dana said is right. 6 days a week, I do a Periscope broadcast every single day, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Not that I'm trying to promote that on here, but
you can.
If you want, yeah. You know, if you want to learn more about essential oils, I would invite you to follow me on Periscope. Summers Wellness is what you're going to look for. 6 days a week, I scope about oils. I go through protocols. I go through expectations. This week, I'm doing Emotions Week. And there is a particular kit of emotion-based essential oil blends that I've been doing all week. Every day has been centered around a different one of those blends. I hate, and I know hate's a strong word, but I really hate the people in this business who make wild, grandiose disease claims, because it puts such a negative light on essential oils as a whole. It creates more skeptics than it does believers, because when you make these grandiose claims, it sounds like you are trying to prey on the weak-minded, or you're trying to prey on the desperate. It's more important to me to help people understand that you have options. And when you, Mike, when you asked, how do you clear the muddy water, is essentially what you kind of asked. I would say you need to partner with someone you trust. You need to understand their motivation. Why are they talking to you? Because in a lot of cases, when you work with somebody in the realm of essential oils, and this is my business, a lot of people come from an idea of desperation. They just want your dollar. They want to sell you oils. They want to sell you on their company. They want to get you in their downline, and they want to make money off of you as their customer. You know, this may be my business. This may be what I do full time to earn a living, to help my wife and I, you know, earn a living, pay the bills. I don't personally care if you ever become a customer of mine. I don't care if you're ever in my downline. I don't care if you ever buy an oil from me directly. And that sounds strange for somebody who does this for a living. That's like going to a car lot and shopping for a car and the salesman telling you, that's okay, go to my competitor and buy from my competitor across the street if you want to. I just want you to have the right car. Mm-hmm. My focus in this business is to empower you to understand that there are solutions outside of modern medicine that can help your body heal itself. And I don't want you to ever feel like you're backed into a corner and think that there's only one company that you have to buy from. I don't want you to ever feel as though you are being pushed into something that you're not ready for, because the best way to help your body heal itself is with consistent use, daily use, something and a company that you can get behind physically and emotionally and make that connection to. And I'm happy to be your coach, your mentor, your teacher, to help guide you in those principles, to help get you where you want to be. But I'm not going to do it at the sake of the almighty dollar. I'm more interested in helping you make the right choice for you than make the right choice for me, because it's more important to me that we kind of cut through the BS and let you understand that there are good oil companies out there. And there are good reps with the multi-level marketing companies like the ones we represent. There are good and bad representatives out there. There are people who will just be desperate, that will make you feel as though there is not another oil on the planet as good as theirs. Mm-hmm. Anyone who tries to make a claim like that, I run away from. Because when push comes to shove, you may like Toyota, I may like Honda, but you are not going to tell me that Honda doesn't make a car as good as Toyota.
Yep. I got to, go ahead, Wayne.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely, Wayne.
That's wonderful. What you were just saying is so different, as you said. So I got to ask. I got to be the sort of the interrogator. Has it worked for you? Are you making money in your now different business? You're not in retail sales anymore. You have your own business. You're an entrepreneur.
Right.
Has the approach you're using, which you obviously feel awesome about, it's what is you, is it working?
I'm still relatively new at doing this, but yes, I am seeing very definite strides month after month after month, because I don't take a desperation mentality. Because I would rather have I would rather, if I work with you, Wayne, and I invite you to try different companies' oils, and you make the decision to go with a different essential oil company than I represent, but that's the company that you feel comfortable with, and those are the oils that you feel you can make your own personal dedication to, then I am totally satisfied in the fact that I have touched your life in a positive fashion, that you've made the best decision for you, that you have essentially taken better control of your own health and well-being. And as long as you can make that commitment to your own health and do it in a positive fashion, I'm satisfied that I have done my job. If that means that I don't get money directly from you, I'm okay with that, because I'll tell you what that's going to do for me in the long run. you are going to look at somebody like me and say, I may not be buying from him, but you have got to talk to this guy, because I've never met somebody who's more giving, more knowledgeable, more understanding about what is needed in the wellness field. So you just talk to him, and if you want to work with him, great. I chose something different for me, but you're going to feel more comfortable recommending people talking to me because I gave you the freedom to make your own choice. Perfect. I don't look at my paycheck tomorrow. I look at my paycheck a year and 2 years down the line, and I know that even people who I've invited to try other companies and explore and experiment with other options, I have gotten a number of them that have come back to me and said, you know what? Nobody in my experience has ever tried to tell me and work with me the way you have. So I would rather work with you. Yeah. Yep.
Let me jump in there a little bit because I want to shift gears a little bit, and I appreciate, and you're getting
Absolutely.
some great comments off to the side. That's one of the things that I saw, because like a lot of us, maybe even in this room, have had some negative experience with multi-level or direct marketing companies in the past. You know, we've all been there, done that type of thing, but I really appreciate your ethics. I think both of you guys have that. What I want to shift gears, because we're at the top of the hour and there are going to be some people leaving here, and Scott's coming on. So while he's coming on, I'd like to have you guys go, hey, Scott, how you doing? Welcome.
Hey, Scott.
Great, how are you?
Doing great. Before you go, Scott, before you have your question, let me direct them. Well, you know what? I'll come back to that. Scott, you're on here. The show's yours right now. So go ahead and ask away.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Evan for his business ethics. I haven't really heard anybody express that concept, or I like where you're coming from, put it that way. So what my big question is what's the company that you represent?
Put you on the spot.
Dana.
So I want to go to your
okay.
website and check out some of the oils. You know?
He's trying so hard.
I have tried very hard to keep it very brand neutral. Dana and I both represent the same company. We both represent doTERRA.
Yeah.
My personal website, I don't have any of my oil information up on my website yet because of the FDA compliance concerns. I want to make sure that when I launch the information on my personal site about oils, that I launch it properly and that I launch it within FDA compliant rules. But I still want to make sure that it is loaded with good, solid, ethical information that meets my set of ethics, as well as educational for anybody who comes to my website.
That's great. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say along those lines, one of the things that I wanted to get into, not because I don't think the brand are important or the type of oils. The quality of oil is paramount, obviously. But can you guys talk to us just briefly about the history of essential oils? I mean, they've been around for thousands of years. Doesn't matter whether you believe the Bible to be a historical document or not, but we know that frankincense and myrrh, and that was essential oils, were given to Jesus at birth. So we know that they've been around for at least a couple thousand years, and I think, but little information I have, it's been a lot longer than that. And maybe you could go into the history and how essential oils came to be, if you know, or if you have that information. Either one of you. What's the history of it? Why is it important?
I'm going to throw this in real quick because this is one of the things that I've actually talked about quite a bit on my blab. And I'm going to have Dana jump in on this one too. But there's a misnomer, and Scott, and you may want to listen to this.
I think
there's a misnomer.
I would chime in that I know in World War I, they gave every soldier a bottle of tea tree oil. to carry in
Yep.
their provisions. It was it antiseptic qualities and antifungal, and it
Yep.
was given to every soldier on the battlefield. It was effective.
Awesome.
And
Correct.
my experience in essential oils is using tea tree oil. We have it all over the place. You know, I
Yep.
use it on almost anything skin related. It handles it. To take a bug off the grill of my car, get the tea tree oil, just
Yep.
evaporates. And it's non-toxic. So
It is.
go ahead, talk about more.
Okay.
Well, I'm
That's great.
intrigued with it.
That's great, because I just learned something just asking a simple question about history. I never knew that in World War I. So that is awesome, Scott. I appreciate it.
Well, and Mike, when you reference the oils from the Bible and you
Yeah.
reference the 5,000-year history of oils, I want to correct a little bit of a misnomer. And again, this is kind of what I do on my Periscopes. I like to correct misinformation
Good.
because there's so much of it out there. When we look back at the 5,000-year history of oils, notice I'm not saying the 5,000-year history of essential oils, because there's a very big difference here. When you go back to ancient times, oils were infused. They were not distilled. So you would get olive oil, for example, that was put into big clay pots, that was put over a fire. So the oil was heated, and then plant material was shoved into those pots. So the oils from the plant would then leach into the oil that was in those clay pots, creating an infusion. But you didn't have widespread distillation until the Romans came to play. So everything prior to the Romans was an infusion, not a distillation. And there's a misnomer about that. So when you hear people make claims of, well, Jesus used essential oils,
Well, I don't know.
he
about
really
that.
didn't.
Okay.
They used infused oils. They didn't use essential oils because essential, it relates to the distillation process or the cold pressing of citrus oils.
Gotcha.
So there is a little bit of a difference there, but it's still just as effective because you're still getting that plant-based material coming into the oil, into that oil in its in the saturation point.
So let me ask you this: so the distillation process, does that make it more concentrated? Does that do?
Yes, it's more concentrated, more potent.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you get more out of less.
Right.
Okay.
And one of the things that you talked about, I know we mentioned it a little bit as well, and we talked a little bit about sourcing. Here's two different frankincense oils, and these tend to be the height of some of the argument. The square bottle, the Oracacia bottle, that's the one that you can buy over the store, at the store, right? Everybody sees that at Whole Foods versus the doTERRA bottle. Here's your difference. There's a couple of them. Number one is where the oils are sourced. The oil from Oracacia comes from India. It's a completely different species of frankincense compared to the doTERRA oil. The other thing, and I show this to people quite a bit, and people don't always realize it, if you look at the size of the hole, the store-bought oil, the hole is 2.5 to 3 times bigger. So a lot of people just simply compare price. The price of what you buy off the shelf is about half of what you would get from the higher quality oil. But when the size of the hole is 2.5 to 3 times bigger, your drop size is bigger. So any of that apparent savings disappears in the fact that you're using a significant amount more oil per drop than you would from one to the other.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of multitudes that may make that difference more clear. When you're using a lesser quality product, you need to use more of it to kind of bring yourself up to that same level of constituents and benefit.
Great. Dana, did you have anything to chime in on the history part?
Well, Evan's really great on the history part. I'm glad he brought up that it's not the same, it wasn't the same types of oils. But I wanted to kind of touch on when Scott was talking about World War II, them having a bottle of World War I, I'm sorry. I've also heard, and I haven't actually gone to any of these museums, but I've heard that if you go to any of like the Southern museums, like Revolutionary War museums, that they will have, like, you know, as part of their display, the medical kits that the doctors carried around, which carried oils in them as part of their protocol for, you know, helping heal their soldiers.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, let me ask you another question. Let's say if you have a kid that has an earache. And I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to put oil into my ear, and it was helpful. And there's all these oils out there on the market. What's the oil that you would suggest using for that purpose, or don't they do that anymore?
I never, let me put that in capital letters, never recommend applying an essential oil inside the ear cavity.
Got it.
Inside the ear canal. Now, the reason for that, you are talking about something that is highly potent, highly concentrated, a product that if you're to drop that into your ear canal, you are simply a very minuscule, millimeters thick membrane between that ear canal and the brain pan. I personally would never recommend applying something that potent and that powerful, that significantly close to the brain, even though the constituents of an essential oil, the molecular base of an essential oil, can penetrate the blood-brain barrier. It's better for it to do that naturally at the molecular level than on a forced situation where you are pouring drops of oil into an orifice. It's just not healthy.
Let's say if someone comes to you and says, I don't know, I want a mixture. My understanding is people mix this stuff, correct?
Right, correct.
So is it true that everyone has their own little formulas that they use that they like, and or are there certain oils that pair with other oils that work better than if you just picked them out of a hat?
Great question.
That's a really good question, Scott.
Yeah, you think I was using all these oils. I'm just using the tea oil.
and that's good. No, Scott, that's a great question, and that's actually one of the things that both Dana and I are really strong on, is educating people on the fact that oils can work better in conjunction with one another. They have a synergistic effect when used in conjunction with other oils, and there are some oils that provide a different health benefit than others. So go ahead, Dana. I'll let you start off with this one, and then I'll add from there.
Well, my answer is yes and yes, Scott. A lot of us do have our own blends that we put together based on, you know, just our studies of the components that are strong in specific oils. So we know that some oils are particularly strong for helping with, you know, with certain areas, whether it's immune support, whether it's respiratory support. And we may, you know, try one. If that doesn't help us, try a different one, because everybody is different and everybody responds differently. And so something that might be helpful for me isn't helpful for you. And so, yes, sometimes we'll try different combination of similar oils that have similar proponents in order to, you know, look for the result that we're looking for. But yes, there are also other oils that synergistically do work well together. And that's why you'll find a lot of essential oil companies, they will have blends, like a respiratory blend or a digestive blend, because, you know, they have scientists and chemists that get together and they know how to put these different oils together in order to, you know, for them to work together to get a hopefully more beneficial result. I did have a quick question for it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it reminds me of the day that when I was roasting coffee out in the garage. You know, I blended it, and everybody has their own little blends, you know, and it sort of reminds me of those days. That just off the shelf comment.
Well, and you are right. Now, let me give you a little bit of understanding, a little perspective with where you're saying, because you're familiar with tea tree. So tea tree has some great.
I'm also familiar. I have a bottle of orange.
Okay.
And
those two are vastly different in their components.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if I could load up the room, having the room smelling of orange with that diffuser, and I'm not sure whether you have to put a lot of it in there or whatever, I would buy a diffuser tomorrow and start doing that. That orange is a nice smell.
You could in a heartbeat, my friend.
Go do it today.
You can do it right now.
Yeah.
I can hook you up with a diffuser this afternoon.
I'll tell you what, you call me. I'm going to give you a phone number. I have to get into a meeting. Call me this weekend sometime. I'd be more than happy to talk about what I need to do to load the room up with orange. I just think it would be neat to walk into a room that smells of orange peel. And
it's awesome. It's awesome.
It is. Sure. I diffuse it every day. In fact, that's one of the oils that I diffuse at night. I do something that's kind of relaxing, and I pair it with orange, and it knocks me out.
It knocks you out?
Yeah.
Well, someone gave me the orange. They said it's relaxing. It'll relax you. It'll calm you down.
Orange is one of those scents that brings us back to our childhood. It's one of those scents that is comforting. It's a cheerful and uplifting scent as well. So the way orange works with our body, and you got to understand that when you smell the aroma of an essential oil, it acts on your limbic system. Your limbic system of the brain rests about 1.5 inches behind the bridge of your nose, behind your third eye. So if you look back you see a cutaway of the brain, you inhale it, but it goes in about 1.5 inches behind your third eye. And that's what acts upon the memory center of the brain. But at the same time, it helps with emotional and physical balance. So when you smell orange tends to be uplifting to the body, and it helps improve focus. But at the same time, it tends to be relaxing to a racing mind. So if you're the type of brain that can't shut itself off, orange is one of those that helps with focus. It helps kind of bring things to a needle point as opposed to, being scattered all over the place.
Can you drop the oil into your nose?
No. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't. You're better off inhaling the aroma. I would rather see you get a personal inhaler than try to use the drops directly inside of an orifice. You can do damage to the mucous membranes because of how strong and potent the essential oils can be. You actually get better therapeutic benefit by inhaling the aroma than you can get by applying essential oils in any other fashion.
That's amazing. And that point alone is really important for everybody to understand that, most of us grow up with a more is better mentality. This is not the case, apparently, with essential oils. Yeah, and that's an important point because, number one, essential oils, if you've looked at it, aren't cheap. And so a drop goes a long way is what I'm hearing. And a drop will go a lot longer in a diffuser than it would be, for example, or a personal inhaler than taking that drop and putting it on your tongue, for example. It sounds
and using a diffuser is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Is that why people that are selling essential oils, my understanding is it's a tough business because people buy the product and it lasts for months?
There's an argument on both sides of that, Scott. You're right. You
buy some orange, it'll last you for 7 months, to come back for more in 7 months.
Exactly, and it can be, if that's all. But now, if you're using it consistently, if you're using the oils on a daily basis, and you start to recognize and see that you're getting some therapeutic benefit, you tend to use more. You tend to use them more often, so you use them daily. You will hear some people.
Users sitting there in the corner, correct?
Exactly, and you start to walk in because, let's face it, you use a diffuser. And you can eliminate the spray air fresheners. You can eliminate all of those plug-ins. You can eliminate some of the good-smelling stuff that we always buy. All of those are toxins, and oftentimes those are toxic chemicals that are that can be cancerous, that you're helping to eliminate.
Did you ever read the warning label? Did you ever read the warning label on a spray can of Glade?
Oh, yeah.
Air freshener.
Absolutely. Yep. On an air freshener.
If you inhale it, it says if you inhale it, to call 911.
And Scott,
yeah, it's an air freshener. That doesn't make sense.
And Scott, if you follow Dana and Evan, follow them. They do their DIY show every Saturday, I believe, and they talk. It's Thursday your DIY show. Saturday you do your regular blab. Okay.
We do the health. We do the health news blab.
So anyway, their DIY show, they do everything. They make their own air freshener sprays and mists and all this kind of stuff. They make their own laundry detergent, all this, and it's just fantastic. It's really cool how you can do all that stuff with essential oils.
I read an article where someone, when they take a shower, I forget what oil they were using, but when they take a shower, they throw the oil onto the shower walls, so the steam and everything just gets the oil going all over the shower. It's just very relaxing.
Interesting. Hey, Scott, I'm going to have you step out if you would. I think there's another.
Hey,
another person.
No problem. I appreciate you having me come in, and
thanks for coming.
Good luck with your mission on getting the word out on essential oils.
Great.
And I'll give you a shout this weekend, Scott.
Hey, no problem. Have a good day.
Great. Thanks, Scott.
Man, thanks.
Over there, I don't know if Monty's still in the room. It looks like your wife, Evan, has been helping him. But Monty, if you're there and had any questions, feel free to jump in. I know you had a couple questions. I think they all got answered by Evan's wife, and she's here, so welcome. Jennifer.
Yay!
So I saw that. Anybody else want to jump in? We're getting a little past the hour. We're about 20 minutes overdue, but it's been really good, so we'll keep talking if everybody wants to keep going here. Unless you guys got to run. I know that Wayne maybe had to run, or he may still be here or not. I don't know if Wayne, if you want to jump in and have any final comments, we probably should wrap it up as far as the recording goes. If people want to stay for a few minutes after, maybe that would work.
I see Wayne's face. I think he's still there.
Okay.
Logged on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see if he comes in or not. He is really busy, and his schedule is usually tight, and a lot of times he might have had to go on somewhere else. But I don't see any other questions coming. Do you guys have any final comments you want to add about essential oils, or even just about what you guys are doing with your own websites, your own coaching, and how you're helping people heal themselves naturally?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess as far as the essential oil things, I just wanted to let everybody know that we do a do-it-yourself blab on Thursday. It is at 2 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And if Scott is still here, yesterday I actually did make a room spray. So you can actually learn how to do that. And now you don't need that that can that you need to call 911 for. But it's using essential oils is an awesome way to remove chemicals and toxins out of your home and still getting great results and the benefits from it. I encourage anybody to reach out to Evan or myself if you have any questions or want to know more about essential oils, you can reach out to me on Facebook. Just search for Whole Health Dana and send me a message, or you can send me an email at wholehealthdana@gmail.com. And I just want to encourage everybody to, be the CEO of your own health. And really, that's what this is all about. This is about making healthy decisions over all aspects of your life, the food you put in your body, the products that you put on your skin, to make good decisions that are going to, promote your health. Don't wait till you get sick to try to figure out, oh my gosh, is there a food I should eat or an essential oil I could use, or anything like that. Make healthy decisions now. And honestly, it's just fun. I mean, every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do today? What lotion am I going to make or put on? Or what room spray do I want to spray today because it just smells so awesome? I mean, the other day I spent 20 minutes just trying to decide what oils to diffuse. It's a terrible waste of time. It's very bad time management, but it's just fun. So,
Awesome.
Get a couple of oils and give them a try, start learning about them, and it's fun.
Awesome. Evan, any parting shots here?
Absolutely. The first thing, what's most important, of course, is to be able to make a commitment to your health. We all seem to look for the magic pill, and the magic pill is not out there. There is no one quick fix. There is no, I'm going to just run to go see a medical professional and get that one, pill for my ill that's going to fix everything. It doesn't exist. You have to make the dedication to yourself. You have to make the commitment to yourself. Honestly, you need to love yourself in order to heal yourself. And if you're coming from a state of self-loathing, even if it's so deep-rooted that you don't recognize it yourself, if you have that attitude of, well, who cares? We're all going to die someday anyway. That is a set of self-loathing in you that is driving some of the destructive behavior that you may have. Using essential oils, and I was there. I was totally there. Using essential oils on a daily basis, committing myself to their use, has totally changed my outlook. And I didn't see it coming. I was a skeptic. I was a skeptic of the skeptics. And it wasn't until I looked back after consistent use for a couple of months that I was able to realize how many things have positively changed in my life ever since I started using oils. I'm infinitely more patient. I don't have a string of bad days anymore. Yesterday, for example, it was just one of those days where the world went wrong. The world kicked me in the nuts so many times yesterday that I was miserable by the time I got on my Periscope. But I started diffusing an essential oil combination in the house, and within a half hour, I was actually feeling much, much better. Like I could feel my blood pressure level change just by using essential oils throughout the day. Woke up today, and it's a vastly different state of mind.
Yeah.
I tell people on my Periscope every day, give me 2 months. If you give me 60 days and let me coach you through the use of essential oils for 60 days, I guarantee I'll change your life. Because that's all it takes to make that dedication and understand. Because when you look back 60 days later, you look back at what your life was like today, you then realize how big of a change, how big a difference that dedication has made.
Fantastic. With that, I'd like to just chime in the final parting shot from our company, Alternative Health Concepts. We're number one, thank you so much for both of you guys joining us today. It's been awesome. I've learned a lot, as I'm sure our guests have, and I know a lot of people that we have on our website. They'll be watching this in the future, and it'll be great for them to. And I'd love to hear back some of the interaction that you have with some of these people. One of the things that drives me and drives our company, Alternative Health Concepts, is the fact that we, as Dana said, you guys We need to become the CEO, I love that statement, of our own health. We need to take control of it. A single doctor doesn't necessarily have all the answers. Your own body and being in tune with your body of what it needs to heal itself is the only way that you're going to heal anything. Most procedures heal symptoms, and the underlying factor or cause of the symptom, whether it be a cold, a flu, cancer, hepatitis, a bacterial infection, whatever it may be, the underlying cause of those symptoms are an unhealthy immune system. And so our whole purpose in our company is to help people understand how to strengthen their immune system so that your body will work perfectly and eliminate those pathogens that come into your body every day. So with that said, thank you for being here. Heal yourself naturally and get on your own road to health. And we look forward to seeing you here at our future Blabs next week. Talk to you soon. Thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Mike.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.